Okay, so we're going to run through now a warm-up sequence for the upper body. So depending on what we're doing, benching, chin-ups, rows, push-ups, deadlifts even, anything like that, we're going to want to increase the ability of the thoracic spine to extend, and we're going to want to increase stability at the shoulder. So most people we see with training, poor form, and we end up getting sort of shoulder issues. So I like to really get that both increased range of motion, but also increase the tension and the stability through that rotator cuff, through the shoulder girdle, so that it's strong to be able to hold everything in position while we go and train. And the first thing I start with is the wrists. And normally it's just something simple, dropping onto the floor, sort of 5 to 10 palm raises, and then flipping over, rocking back, and then flipping through if we can. And what I'll try and do here is basically lock those elbows out and take a little bit of load onto those wrists. Pull back just slightly and gently. If you find that's too much, what you can do is start with a bent arm and then increase it as you go. So you've got to remember, everything that we're doing, we're going to be gripping or pushing, so everything starts at the hand and wrist level. And so from there, I start to move up to the pec, chest, shoulder line. So we normally use a broomstick as easy. The closer in that you go, the harder it's going to be. So I like to find the point where, if I go too wide, for example, super easy. You could do that, not really feeling anything. So I'm going to find the point where just before my arms break, so there. If I go too tight, I'll know because the elbow will have to bend to get me over. So I like some simple dislocates, and I normally do about 10 of those, and then come around, and do it both ways. So we're just starting, and I'll find that point where there's the most tension through the back here, and that's going to open up through that front delt, through the chest, everything like that. And I'll basically just come back and sit into that position and rotate through and try and get any sort of sticky points out of it. After that, when we've got this shoulder girdle sort of opened up a little bit more, I'll normally take a band and do something simple like some face pull, some pull aparts, nice and controlled, and about 15 to 20 reps, so that we're going to start to activate and fire up through that mid back, everything needed when we're rowing, when we're pushing, keeping all this fired up. And then from there you can either use like a cable station, or I just like some simple light bands, and I'll strap them onto something, and basically you can just start, reach, up, down, and basically just nice and controlled. And I'll just check out through the range and make sure there's no pain or it's not faltering or getting weak like that. So I just want to see a nice smooth motion. Bring together like a fly, press, 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 and once again I'm really just checking to see that I'm not getting any pain or impingement, and that the whole thing is moving nice and smooth throughout the entire range. From there I'd spin around, and I normally just do a 3-way series. So Y, thumbs to the roof, T, thumbs to the side, and then like a W, thumbs to the ground. And so by training or activating the girdle through that different planes, we're getting that shoulder capsule fired up and ready to hold load for overhead, for bench, for rows, for dumbbells, for push-ups, whatever it is, because we're starting to stabilize through this entire girdle, so that when I go and take a bar and press, one, I'm not stuck forwards because I've opened up through the shoulder, freed up that lat through that pec, so I can actually get into the correct position. But secondly, when I take it and I press and I'm up, these guys here through the back here need to be active. If they're weak, then we're going to get instability, and I'm going to come down and we're not going to be able to handle that load if the little guys aren't doing their job of stabilizing the socket. So I like to use the bands like that and just basically front way and then back way in order to get that shoulder through an entire range of motion. Makes it really simple to do a quick 4 or 5 minute warm up. So we're loosening off tissue, relaxing the tension through the arms, through the shoulder, and then we're starting to activate and bring everything together by doing the band work or the pull aparts or that sort of stuff in order to prep the body for heavier loading before we go and start warming up our correct movements.